It's good morning, everybody. It's Teresa with Stampin' with Teresa, and we are about to get started here. I am going to try to figure out how to share this video to my biz page, so bear with me just a moment. And then I'm about 8 minutes early, but we can get started here in just a moment. Okay, so I see myself live here. Let's go ahead and click on, turn down the volume, and let's see, how do I figure out how to share this here? Share to a page, Stampin' with Teresa. Time for live. Okay. Publish. Okay, so, all right. I can actually even see comments this time. Yay. Hi, Lori. Welcome to live this morning. Hi, Lynn. Welcome. So let's go ahead and get started, ladies. I want to start with prizes. Well, for some reason, I can't actually see. Hold on, you guys. I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, okay, we're just going to keep going. Okay, I can no longer see comments, you guys. My apologies. It seems like on my tablet, I can either see comments or the video, not both. Let's see, maybe if I could do that. Let's try this. Oh my gosh, you guys. I really don't know what I'm doing. Well, okay, here we go. Oh gosh, I think I got it, you guys. Okay. Okay, I can't see comments. My apologies. But let's go ahead and get started. So, here's the deal. This week was a really busy week for me. As you know, I am recovering from pneumonia still. I'm doing so much better this week. But I do have a day job. And so I worked probably close to 60 hours this week. In fact, I'm going to go into the office after this live. And so therefore, I didn't have a ton of time to prepare. But because my hobby is so important to me and running my Stampin' with Teresa business is so important to me, I made sure to still put in a little time with it this week. But I wanted to kind of show you what you can do when you're feeling too busy, but you still want to be artsy and craftsy. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a thing called casing today, and that's CASE, and that stands for Copy and Share Everything. And I want you to know that casing is 100% okay. If I find a project from another demonstrator or another artist or something that I'm inspired by, I always try to give credit if I'm publishing photos or showing it on my live or whatever. So I do try to give credit where credit is due. But, you know, sometimes there's an idea out there and 100 people have already done it. I have no idea who the original is. So I just say, hey, I saw it on Pinstagram or whatever. Did I say Pinstagram? Instagram or Pinterest or whatever. Okay, so if you're feeling busy but you still want to make a card, you don't know what to do, go find your inspiration, and you know, it can act as a springboard or it can act as, you know, do a direct copy. You know, sometimes that's what we do, right? Okay, because sometimes it takes a little extra time and energy to be creative all on your own. So either however you want to craft, you do you. If you do a direct lift of a design or whatever, it is, you know, much appreciated to give credit where credit is due. So with that, I want to talk about winners of prizes from last week. So I give prizes every week for people who share the videos, and you can do that by clicking share on the video that you're watching right now. And if you share it to your personal page or wherever, I really appreciate it. Don't share it to my page, because I've already shared it to my page. But anyway, I really appreciate shares. And actually, it would really help me if you were to type in the comments shared, so I know. Because I saw that I had 3 shares. I know one was me, and I know one was Linda Hart, by the way, who I believe is watching. And Lynn, you win the stamp set. You get a brand new stamp set, and I know you're kind of just getting started, so I'm really excited for you that you've won this. So what I need you to do is message me your mailing address, and I will send this out to you. And I'll probably throw in a couple little extra special somethings to kind of help you get started. But yes, congratulations, Lynn. Thank you so much for sharing. And I just really appreciate it. And then I know that the third person who shared, though they didn't type it in, but I know that they did it, was Cindy Cummings. The reason why I know is because it's my mom. So even my mom is allowed to win. So thanks, Mom, for doing that. I don't know if you're watching because I am not able to see my comments as usual. But so my mom wins projects from last week, which we made this card using that Happy Birthday to You stamp set that's out of the Celebration catalog. And then we made this little bag. You can still go back and watch the video on the Stampin' with Teresa community page. So feel free to watch that anytime. It's always going to be there. So congratulations, Mom and Lynn. I'm super excited for you. The winners from the week before, you're probably wondering where the heck are your prizes, and I said I'd ship them early last week, and I didn't because I didn't have any bubble mailers, but I got them this week, and so I'm going to ship them when I ship the other prizes. So Kathy and Valerie, your prizes are coming for real this time, and I have both of your addresses. So prizes for this week, let's see. Let me go see what's in the vault here. This week, we are going to give away a card kit that's in the Celebration catalog. So this is a complete card kit. It's called the Kerchief Card Kit. It's so cute. I haven't made my other kit yet, so I'm going to have to make some cards out of this and kind of show you what they look like. But these are the samples of what they are on the front, and they come with all the embellishments, everything you need. They even come with adhesive, and these are, I believe, pre-printed, so you don't even need a stamp. So talk about a great deal. You can make just a bunch of cards, you know, in no time flat, and all you need is scissors, really. So that's exciting stuff. So somebody is going to win this for sharing this week. And then, of course, I'll give away the second prize of the projects that we're going to make today. So let's get started because we're going to do some exciting stuff. Even though we're casing, they're still beautiful, gorgeous cards. And today we're casing all of the current Stampin' Up! Catalogs. So I'm going to start with the current January through June 2020 mini catalog. So this basically goes until I think June 2nd or June 4th or something like that. There's so many great products in this catalog. But today we are going to case this card right here using the Tropical Oasis Suite, the Timeless Tropical Bundle. And we're doing it almost exactly, except for I need thank you cards, not birthday cards. So I'm going to do a thank you card today. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm not exactly 100% sure on what the colors were on the project we're casing, so I just kind of picked out what I thought was similar. But we're going to be using this beautiful ribbon, the braided burlap trim that comes with, that is part of that suite. Here's the sample that I made. Oops. And of course we're going to stamp on the envelope as well. And of course we've stamped on the inside. So I'm really excited to teach you how to make this. We are going to actually do all of the die cutting and embossing today on this one card. For the rest of the projects, it's already done for us, so we'll go a lot quicker through the other two projects today. We're going to use the 2019-2021 in color faceted dots. I love these. And we're using the Coastal Weave embossing folder, which is part of the suite, the Timeless Tropical Cling stamp set, and the In the Tropics dies. This suite is phenomenal. We are also using the 2 1/4 inch circle punch. If you have the layering dies, you know, or the stitched dies or whatever, you could use those too, but I like using the punch. And then we're going to use several ink pad colors, though you could get away with fewer, but this is just how I want to do it. So we're going to be stamping our images in soft suede. We're using Terracotta Tile. We're using Daffodil Delight and Mango Melody. And we're using Pear Pizzazz and Old Olive. And you guys, because this is kind of a labor-intensive card with all the embossing and die cutting, we are going to color using sponge daubers. You're going to die at how fast this goes. It's so fast. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull out all of our goodies. So I already have everything trimmed for us, but we are going to go through and do I'm going to use these 2 scraps here for stamping and die cutting. This is the piece we're going to emboss with the Coastal Weave embossing folder. This is the layering piece for the inside of the card. Oh, you know what? I thought I had maybe it's in here still. I had cut a 3x3 square, and here it is. It didn't make it in the envelope. So this is what we're going to stamp our sentiment and put behind that circle piece. So what I want to do actually before I emboss is I want to do our brown stamping first, our soft suede stamping, so we give this a really good amount of time to dry before we color and die cut. So this we can do in a moment, but let's start with the inside of our card. We're going to use this beautiful, I don't know what kind of flower that is. I'm going to say like a gardenia maybe, I don't know. Pretty tropical flower though. So let's go ahead and just stamp the corner here. Set that aside, we'll let that dry. Let's grab our envelope. Where did I put the envelope? Here it is. I like doing just this lower right corner. We'll stamp that, start letting that dry. And then we are going to need one of these big stamps of these hibiscus. Just checking for coverage. Perfect. We're going to need one of these. So we'll stamp that. And we are going to need 2 of these. 1, 2. And then we're going to need 3 leaves. Hopefully I'm in frame here. So we'll just do, you know what? Well, let's do 1 here. And then we'll do 1 or 2 on this one. We'll have a little extra, which is great. Okay. So let's give the soft suede a small chance to dry here. And we'll stamp the sentiment in a moment as well. First, I want to do the embossing. So let's grab that layering piece of Terracotta Tile and let's grab the embossing folder. So what you're going to do is this line right here helps you guide your paper so you have it in straight, so the design is straight on your paper. So, and then you just fold that in just like that. It looks crooked, doesn't it? Let's see. Let's see what we've got here. There we go. So I hope everybody had a really great week this week. Even though mine was extreme, I'm just going to go with it, you guys. Even though mine was extremely busy and exhausting, it was good. It feels good to be really recovering from the pneumonia, I have to say. So I'm pulling out the Big Shot, and I'm using the main Big Shot platform, and then we're using the blue embossing plate that Stampin' Up! Sells. Stampin' Up! Currently does not sell the Big Shot anymore. They are working on a new die cutting machine, an embossing machine, and I suspect that that's going to be released this summer. They've already got a bunch of the accessories and everything done, so I think it's getting close to product release. You guys, look at that beautiful texture, and it looks like, you know, kind of a woven grass mat, like in a tropical climate. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so let's set this aside for a minute, and we are done with the embossing folder. Did you guys see how easy that was? Literally, you just put your paper in and run it through. Next, let's go ahead and use this punch, and we're going to take it from, our card's going to be a horizontal card, so this is going to layer right on top like this. So I want this to be about center on the right side of the card here. So I'm going to take this punch and kind of center the paper in there, and I'm just going to put it slightly up so I have a little bit more room for the flowers at the bottom. So center and then just up slightly, and then punch. And this leaves a nice little circle embossed paper that you can use for a focal image or a embellishment on another project. So I save those things. All right, we are done with the punch for today. Okay, so let's take this 3x3 piece of Very Vanilla cardstock. We're using Very Vanilla, not Whisper White on this card, and we are going to just glue it behind here. So what I'm going to do is take my liquid glue, and put here. So you guys, even though I can't see your comments right now, plus I'm focusing on the card making anyway, I do go through and read every single comment after the live is over, and I will answer any and all questions you have. So feel free to comment as though I'm reading them, even though I'm not reading them live right now. I will be reading them and I will be responding to them, and I appreciate all of your comments so much. You don't even know. We're going to stay tuned to the end because I want to talk about some deals and everything that I'm doing and that Stampin' Up! Is doing. So if you're interested in you know, learning more about that, stay tuned. Otherwise, you can just check into my social media outlets as well, because I've been posting things throughout the week. We're stamping this beautiful thank you sentiment, and I'm just putting it kind of toward the top in that middle of that circle. Perfect. We are now done with the soft suede ink. So let's go ahead and let this dry. I'm going to set that aside to dry. Before I forget, I am going to crease this fold with the bone folder. It gives it that really nice crease so it lays flat. Set that aside. Okay, so now we are going to color. This is the most fun part. Let's go ahead and start with the leaves. Why not? I have my greens on top. I'm using the sponge daubers. I label these so I can reuse them. Let's start with the darker color, Old Olive. You guys, this is probably the fastest way of coloring, and the best part is, you know, you really don't need to be perfect. I'd like to kind of grab some color. I don't know if we can see that. And then, so I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to just kind of dab it lightly in the center and just kind of draw the color out a little bit. And I want it just a little bit darker in the middle and toward the bottom. So let's go ahead and do all the leaves. Just a really light touch, you guys, like barely touching the paper, like barely. And then you can go a little bit harder and dab that color so there's that more concentrated color toward the bottom. But when you start, and I'm sweeping this, I'm not doing any circular motions on this. And it's okay if you go outside of the lines. You can see right here, I'm not being perfectly in the lines, and that is okay because this is just more of an organic, artsy kind of abstract color job, which I think really complements the photorealism of the actual stamped image. I love these stamps with that photorealistic image. Okay, now we're going to grab our Pear Pizzazz. And this is a much lighter color, and we're going to just go ahead and then kind of go from the outside in of that image, just kind of giving it just a little light real light saturation with that light color on the edge. And again, go outside the lines. It's perfect to do that, really. There is no mistakes on this type of card. Okay, now we got the leaves done. Let's go ahead and go into our floral images. I'm still getting used to how to open up these new ink pads style. And new, and when I say new, it's like a couple years old. It's not even that new anymore. Okay, so Daffodil Delight. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab some color and just kind of start in the center and pull off to the edges. We're gonna build this color up on these flowers. So we're gonna start light and build up the color. I'm gonna give this a good concentrated color on the stamen there part in the middle, but on this one, I'm just dragging that color out. I'm going heavy on the inside of the card where the shadows would be more prominent and just pulling that color out so it's much lighter toward the end of the petal. And you can see the artist puts shadow lines where they think that the flower should be darker. But since we're sponging our color on today and not coloring, we're not going to pay as much attention to that technique of really honing in on the shadows. Again, we're doing just a really abstract kind of coloring. And don't want to forget our envelope. I'm going to go a little bit lighter on the envelope. Okay. All right, so we are now done with our Daffodil Delight. Let's move on to Mango Melody. I love this color. Okay, and grabbing our sponge dauber for Mango Melody. Now you'll see that this is a much darker color. And so while we're here, let's just kind of do I'm going to pull the color just ever so slightly on that one for the envelope. Let's go ahead and do the layering for the inside of the card here. Just a little dab. Nothing crazy. The leaves are done. So let's go ahead and give this, I'm doing a little twisting kind of motion now on this and just kind of radiating that color out. I'm doing kind of a twist and lift. Just kind of giving that a nice little blend, but I'm doing a soft dab on the small flowers. I don't know what they're called. Let's just call it hibiscus because that's what I want to call it today. Or not, these are gardenias. This is a hibiscus. That's just what I'm saying is what it is. Even though I know that this is not a gardenia, but maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not confident. Okay, Terracotta Tile, the star of the show. Okay. That is a very, very dark saturated color, highly pigmented. So we're going to go super light and we're just going to go like a small dab just to give it that little, just an extra little whisper of the terracotta tile on there. Okay. Whisper. Whisper. There we go. Okay. But for the hibiscus, we're gonna deepen that color. Let's give this hibiscus some life here. So I did it very deeply in the middle, but I'm also gonna take this color and pull it out from the edges to give it that kind of variegated pink look on the edge of the flowers. See that? What do you think? I think that's pretty gorgeous. And you guys, we are done coloring. Can you believe how easy that is? All right, so ink pads for this card are done. Let me see, I'm gonna put these back in my basket just to get them out of the way. Okay, now let's pull our die cutting machine back up because it is time to die cut these flowers. We're not using this. What I'm gonna use is the magnetic platform, if I can find it. Oh, here it is. we're going to use our die cutting sandwich. So we're using the magnetic platform, and I got these new sparkly ones that I really like, and we're going to grab our dies. I like to keep my dies stored on, I just have these because I use them. They've got Post-it tape on it to help stick them down. I like to keep them stored on a magnetic sheet inside of this so they don't get lost in the storage process. Okay, so now this is the kind of fun but kind of interesting part. So we need to figure out how to line this up, and basically my technique is simple. I just kind of twist it until I find it. And I think we've got it right here. All right, so we're going to line that up nice and tight. Hang on here. There we go. Put the Post-it tape down. Grab one of the quote-unquote gardenia flower. A die for that. Is this the one? Is this it? Did I get it right on the first try? Wow, that's exciting. Okay, and let's go ahead and do the leaf. Okay. You guys, I've been shedding so much lately, so there's a weird little hair there. My bad. Okay, there we go. Get that on nice and tight. Hopefully, I can't really see real well with the camera, but hopefully this will do the trick. So we're just going to put that top layer of the sandwich on and crank her through. Whew, this is my favorite part. Let's see how it came out. So pretty. All right, set that aside. This leaf, oh yes, so pretty. And the other flower, so pretty. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this one lined up. Oops, I somehow twisted it. Let's see. Nope. Nope. This one it? Nope. Aha, there it is. Okay. So the 13-year-old of the house is starting midwinter break this week. It's pretty exciting. I felt bad for that kiddo. He was sick this week. He missed 2 days of school. It's just going around. I've got another round of sickness with people at my office as well. So that's kind of a bummer. Okay. Taking that through. Hopefully everybody in your house and home has been staying nice and healthy. And the midwinter or the winter bugs haven't been hitting you so hard. Okay, pretty. We're done with this. That can go in the recycle. And we have one more leaf. So you guys, I know this is kind of labor intensive on this one, but believe me, it's relaxing and fun. It's probably not as fun to watch me, but if you were making your own card, you'd be having so much fun at seeing how nice these things looked when you brought them out. Okay. And then just the beautiful card that you're going to have at the end. I can't wait to see who wins the projects this week. Because if I were on your end, I would be like, sure, Mama wants those cards. Okay. Done and done with the die cuts. So let's just go ahead and put these away. I suggest, if you are not in the habit of putting your stuff away as you go, especially with things like these dies that are little and get lost easily, you should really develop that habit. I know it seems like it's slowing down your creative process a little bit, but believe me, the first time you lose a die is the first time that's going to be the last time you don't clean up after yourself, because that is such a sad, sad day. Ask me how I know. Okay, so let's grab all of our stuff here. So I feel like this is dry and I feel like the inside is dry. So let's get to gluing. So you know me, I love the liquid glue. I love the wiggle room it gives me. Okay. And just glue that layer to the inside. Now you have a nice white or very vanilla section to write with a just regular pen. Somehow I got some ink on this top of this card here. You probably can't see it, but maybe you can see if I lift it. But who cares? Because look at what we're doing. We're gluing this to the card. It's going to be covered. It's a beautiful thing about handmade cards. Any mistake you make, you can always cover it up. I have very rarely trashed projects from like Inky Fingertips or whatever. It just is an opportunity for a different way of doing something. Okay, so I'm going to do a little pre-layout here of the flowers. So we're going to kind of arrange them. We're going to be little florists here. I want this to go like kind of like this. And then our greenery. Every flower needs some greenery. And then you're probably wondering like, well, what about the burlap trim? Well, let me show you what we're going to do with that. So I've already got a little piece cut off. I cut off kind of a long piece for when I made the prototype. And this ribbon trim is so pretty, and all you have to do to kind of give it a rustic little look is pull it apart just like that. Isn't that fun? So it kind of gives that kind of vacation vibe. I'm actually going to cut this piece in half because we really don't even need that much. And I'm going to show you what I mean here. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this big hibiscus on dimensionals. And I'm going to do just a couple in the middle. And the reason is because we are going to be tucking all kinds of things underneath, and I want to leave room. So let's do this about here. And I just use the dimensionals. Let's use some glue dots because that will make our life really easy with these things. So where did I just put that other leaf? There it is. Okay, I swear things camouflage in to my background here. So I'm just putting glue dots on the back of the sleeve. And we'll just go ahead and slide that under and give her a press. Let's take this little piece of burlap trim that we have here. Let's give this a glue dot. I'm going to give it 2 glue dots because it's very fibery. Okay, and I'm just going to slide this under here so it's got a little bit of that action going on. And we'll put this one right below it. I mean, talk about stretching your ribbon supply. Now, if you wanted to, you could just put one strand out and have it go all the way, but why do that when you can use just a little bit at a time and really make it go a lot further by just cutting off little bits. So let's put that on a glue dot right there. I actually want to put this on a dimensional. I'm going to put this on, I'm going to give that a big one and a mini. And I'm going to show you why here, because I want this to be dimensionalized, but I want this to kind of support this underneath part right here. So there we go, because that was sagging a little bit more than I would like to have seen it sag. Really don't like saggage. Okay, so let's put another glue dot here and slide this little guy. Oops. Okay, the danger of that was I didn't give it enough. Oh, that's okay. We'll do this just like so. That's perfect. And then we're going to put this on. I'm going to do something like this. So we'll put this on a couple glue, dimensionals here. Well, let's just do one. Okay. And we'll tuck things under if we feel like we need to. Okay, let's do this like so. So we've got our little sentiment kind of poking out. And then I'm going to cut another little bit off here. In fact, I might add a second bit because I kind of feel like I didn't leave enough, like, feel like it's kind of a big opening here in between, so I might stick some there too. So I think I will. Let's see what that looks like. Look at me deviating from my plan. That's the nice thing about crafting. You make decisions on the fly. And just spread that out and just kind of, look how cute that is. I love it. Spread those out a little bit. And then let's give this another little bit down here over the side. And we're just taking that and just fraying the edges. See how easy that just comes apart? So you don't want to go too far down before you put your glue dot on, because this thing will come completely apart if you're not careful. So let's grab another couple glue dots. Okay. And let's just kind of put it through. Maybe we'll put it right under here like that. Perfect. I like how that turned out. What do you guys think? I like all that natural fiber on it, and then with the texture, there's lots of texture, and these just look beautiful. So let's embellish with some sparkle. I love sparkle. Okay, let me grab my scissors. I'm just gonna take my scissors and lift them on up. I'm gonna take this one here, and I'm actually gonna kind of tuck it right underneath that leaf. That will lift that leaf just a little bit, giving that some dimension. I'm gonna take this one here and kind of put it over here. And then the third one, the little baby, I'm gonna just kind of put over here. Look, you guys, our card, it's done. We cased a card. We did not have to take much time at all to invent this design. All we did was look and inspire ourselves from the catalog and copy what Stampin' Up's artists gave us. Look at that. It's so beautiful. Now I have two. So again, if you're sharing the video, and by the way, it goes all week. It doesn't have to be exactly right now. So if you're watching the replay, click share and type share in the comments, so that way I know that you shared and you'll be eligible for the prize. All right, so let's wrap this project up, and it is time to move on to our next project. Our next project is really cool. It's different than what we just did. All the cards are really different today, although they all have like nature in the you know, like, so this one was tropical. We're going to move on to kind of an Asian theme here next, and then we're going to have a simple spring floral for our last one. I'm just kind of moving everything out of the way. Okay, the next one's fun because we're going to do a couple interesting techniques, and if you're new to stamping and have not ever heat embossed, get excited. I'm going to teach you how to heat emboss. You heat emboss. I'm going to use the Versamark Clear Watermark ink. We need some pens. I'm going to show you, if you're just starting and you don't have a giant collection of inks, you know, maybe you just buy some markers, and if you have rubber stamps, you can color directly on your stamps, and wait till you see how it turns out. So we are going to case a card from the current Celebration catalog. Now, let me tell you, you cannot buy anything in this catalog. You can only get these things for free with qualified purchases. So today we are going to use the Power of Hope bundle, because this, honestly, I know I say everything's my favorite, but I do think that this is my actual favorite in this catalog. And it's so cool because it's a bundle. So it comes with this gorgeous stamp set. And I've made a couple things already with this stamp set. I've already given the cards away, otherwise I'd show you. And then it comes with an embossing folder that's the stone embossing folder. So I can't wait to show you what it looks like. So this you can earn with a $100 purchase. Okay, you get that whole bundle. So here's the card. The case of that. I don't know what this looks like on camera, but you guys, in person, this is so vibrant and beautiful. And the sentiment says, today is a day for new beginnings. And this makes me think that this is a card that you would send to somebody who maybe just lost their job, or maybe they just quit their job and they don't know what they're going to do yet. And then you're encouraging them, hey, one door shuts, one door opens. Today is a day for new beginnings. Maybe somebody's going through a divorce, or just, you know, broke up with a boyfriend, or whatever. You know, they might be having a hard time. You know, sometimes just remembering them that, you know, kind of chill out a little bit and just really focus on the positive side of the negative issue, this card might help encourage somebody and just make them know that you're really thinking of them and you're in their corner. So, and then of course I put this beautiful, I don't know if it's called a bonsai tree. It looks like one of the bonsai bushes, but it's probably a little too big, so maybe it's a cherry tree. I don't know. It's abstract. So, and this kind of Japanese pagoda thing. And then if you see the background, we stamped the lanterns as well. So, all of the stuff is cut, embossed, and die cut. So we aren't going to use the Big Shot anymore today. So I already showed you how to do that, but we are going to do all of the stamping together. Okay. So for this card, got little dimensional backings everywhere. So for this card, we're using Smoky Slate as our card base. You're going to notice a theme that we're doing tone on tone embossing folder on top of the card today. So that last one we did the terracotta tile basket weave on the basket weave card base. For this card, we're doing that 3D stone embossing folder. Do you see that texture? You guys, it is phenomenal. And then, so we're going to use that in the Smoky Slate. I've cut, these are cut to 3.5 by 1 inch in the Real Red cardstock. We're using Whisper White. We have one for our inside layer, and then we have one for stamping. We are going to fussy cut. There are no dies for this, and fussy cutting to me feels cathartic. So, and we're kind of making a card for somebody who's going for a hard time. This gives you time to really put them in your thoughts and make this card intentional for them. So, and then here's a square cut with our layering shapes dies, and I did an oval and Pretty Peacock. So Whisper White and Pretty Peacock. And we're going to stamp and emboss on here. And then this is for stamping and fussy cutting. And then, of course, we've got our envelope. So let's see. How do I want to start? Let's start with our red ink first, because we are going to stamp off of here using Real Red, and red ink to me takes just a minute to dry. We're using Pretty Peacock Real Red ink pads, and then we're using Real Red, Pretty Peacock, and Early Espresso Stampin' Write markers. We have blends, the Stampin' Blends markers, which are our amazing alcohol blending pens, and they are so wonderful to color with, and I love them so much, but these Stampin' Write markers will always have my heart. Okay, so let's grab this lantern, and let's move these things out of the way, because we're only inviting fingerprints, red fingerprints. You're always going to get a red fingerprint when you're using red ink, so that's why we are going to be very careful. Okay, so let's get our little lantern, and we are just going to kind of randomly stamp on all 4 of these little panels. This is actually my first time. I've seen this on a lot of cards. A lot of people like this layout with these kind of 4 cattywampus vertical panels as a kind of layering element on their cards. This is the first time I've ever done it, and I like it. I do. I wasn't initially drawn to that style, but after doing it with this card, I kind of like it. Do you have a favorite go-to layout? For those of you who are experienced stampers. I do. Maybe one day I'll do a video on my go-to layouts. So when I want to be creative, nothing's striking my fancy, but I have no mojo. I am going to grab a baby wipe, you guys, and we are going to clean this ink pad instantly, or the stamp right away, because we are not getting red ink everywhere. Not on my watch. Okay, and so what you want to do is you want to just make sure you clean that really well. Set it aside. Make sure you give your fingers a dab. Set those aside to dry, for goodness sake. Let's set those aside and close this pad up. And that's it for our Real Red ink pad today. Next, let's grab, because I feel like envelopes take a minute to dry, and the inside layering panel, I don't like those to be wet when I'm gluing them down. So I'm going to take the Pretty Peacock ink, and I'm going to take our little bonsai tree. Again, don't really know if it's a bonsai, but that's what I'm calling it today. And we're going to just stamp it in the corner, give the inside just something. A little je ne sais quoi. Okay. And then the envelope. Okay, we'll set both of those things aside to dry, and we are actually going to use this stamp again, and we're going to be doing something different with the ink. So I am cleaning this off for our next step, which will be the rest of the stamping. Get that good and clean. And by the way, we're done with the Pretty Peacock ink pad as well. Whoa, set that aside. Okay, let's start with the pagoda. Okay, so here is a fun technique. If you are just starting out, or maybe you just are a person who does not like collecting all of the ink pads, you know, you can still have the entire collection of the Stampin' Up! Color families without spending an arm and a leg. So this technique does not, I have not had good success on the photopolymer stamps, by the way. This technique really works best on the red rubber stamps, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Stampin' Right marker, we're going to grab that brush end. You can see there's two ends to these. Let me show you these real quick. There's the thin end and there's this one. So this is an end you can use to color in teeny tiny little spaces, or you can write a message with that end. And then this is the brush marker end. This is my favorite end. Now when you're coloring on stamps, you want to use the side of the brush, not straight down, because you don't want to break that, fray that edge. So I'm starting with the red, and I'm going to color the, I guess, fabric part of the pagoda, or whatever, the, you know, the stuff that looks like an awning. I don't know what that's called, you guys. I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to this architecture style. I don't even know if it's pagoda, but I'm calling it a pagoda. And I'll be the first to admit I'm ignorant. I've even been to Japan. I still don't know. In fact, I don't even really remember seeing any of this kind of architecture. I was in a conference area for work, and I went downtown city, and it was a big downtown city looking thing. It wasn't very traditional looking at all. I know I wasn't too far from those areas, but unfortunately I did not have the time to go check those out. So this is actually the early espresso marker. So we're coloring kind of the beams of the pagoda. Yeah, I went and ate some really good food in the kind of, we actually went to Chinatown while we were in Japan. And we were in Kobe, and it was really good. It was really, really good. There's a lot of seafood there, man. A lot of seafood. If you like seafood, go to Japan. I'm not a seafood person, but I still really enjoyed the food there, because there's also a lot of all kinds of meats there. And of course, they're famous in that area for the Wagyu beef. Okay, and I used Pretty Peacock to do the bottom. Now, so you're wondering, like, well, doesn't that ink dry? Well, kinda. It's still a little wet, but I wouldn't stamp it. What you're gonna do is, it's called the huffing technique. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna just blow a little hot breath right onto that to re-moisten the ink. Which is kind of gross if you think about it. But my stamps, my breath, what are you gonna do? Look at that. We got 3 colors of ink on one stamp. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. So because we've got red and I'm not messing around with red, wet red ink, I'm cleaning that baby off. Okay. Now we are going to do this tree twice. So let's start with this Pretty Peacock, and we're going to get all the foliage and see how quickly this goes. It doesn't take any time at all. I mean, it takes, you know, a little bit of time, and that's silly of me to say, but it's really relaxing. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this technique. I really love this technique. I haven't done this in a long time, and so I was really happy when I saw this. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a perfect thing. I know I've got some beginners on here, so this is a perfect thing to show someone starting out. And frankly, for an avid crafter like myself, any level of crafter really, this is a great technique. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and huff on this one. Let's give that a stamp. Look at that. It's just perfect. Okay. I mean, you really can't mess this up, especially when you have an abstract looking image to begin with. Okay. It's definitely not as quick as just like plopping it in an ink pad and stamping in one color like we did for the inside panel in the envelope where we just did it in Pretty Peacock. But I mean, I kind of like we're putting, you know, opposite of the first one we did where we colored in an abstract way, we're coloring in a more precise way on an abstract image on this one. So it's just kind of complementary. And again, this is the early espresso. Okay, and we'll huff and puff. Okay, perfect. Just cleaning this off because I've got this wipe, and why not? Okay, so I'm going to set this aside and let that dry a minute before we fussy cut. In the meantime, we are going to do our heat embossing. So let's take our little blue shape here, our little oval, stitched oval, and we're taking this thing, it's called an embossing buddy, and it's full of, I don't know what, chalk maybe, I'm not sure, but we're going to rub this on that. It's an anti-static pad. Anyway, it's pretty powdery. Mine is pretty powdery. And then we're taking our Versamark ink and we're taking our sentiment. And I need to really make sure I don't stamp this upside down. We can always flip it over, I guess, but let's try not to have to do that. So stamping that down. So what that anti-static powder does is it makes it so when we sprinkle our embossing powder on here, we don't get embossing powder stuck to areas we don't want it. It's only going to stick to the image. So I use a coffee filter. I'm just going to plop this in right in the coffee filter. And I'm taking the white embossing powder and I'm sprinkling her on. And you have a little bit of time. You don't need to rush this process at all. You can do, you know, if you're mass producing, you can do several sentiments, you know, several of these, and then heat emboss them all at once. Stamp, sprinkle, and then heat emboss. So I'm going to go ahead. You can see there's a few little specks here and there. Just brushing those off the edge. It's because I touched it after I put the static pad. Giving it a flick. So you can see how that clear ink, that white embossing powder just stuck to that ink. Now, let's take the powder that we have caught in our coffee filter, and this makes it so easy just to pour her back in, so we're not wasting embossing powder. Or if we are, we're wasting very little. And then coffee filters are like dirt cheap, so I don't mind, and they're, you know, biodegradable, of course, so I don't mind using them and tossing them. And then I got a little powder from between the embossing buddy and the powder. We're going to do that. Okay, so now this is where the magic happens. I've got my embossing heat tool. Stampin' Up! Has their own version, which is fantastic. I've just had this for probably 25 years. And so I haven't bought the Stampin' Up! One because this one has lasted me forever. So what I'm going to do, it's a little loud, I apologize. We're going to let this get really hot because that's hot enough. And then what we're going to do, I don't want to burn my fingers, but because I want you to watch the magic, I'm going to hold this kind of up to the camera. We're going to hold the heat gun over there, and then you'll see that it's going to start to melt. And it's getting too hot, so I have to set it down. It's very hot, so don't burn yourself. All right, and let's go ahead and take a look and see how that went from powder to gloss. And then you're probably going, but what about the white residue from the embossing buddy? Well, I've got a trick for that. I have a microfiber cloth. I'm just going to go ahead and take that and wipe it away. I also think that, you know how you get those extra glass cleaning cloths when you go to get new glasses, or Costco, and I just wipe them with those too. Those work really well. Okay, so I feel like everything is dry enough now, so it's time to fussy cut. Grabbing my Stampin' Snips. you guys, if you don't have a really nice pair of scissors, I mean, I know I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I want you to buy Stampin' Up! Products from me, you know, because that's, you know, hello, it's my business. But I will say that the Stampin' Up! Paper snips are literally the best scissors ever. I've had this single pair that I have several pairs that I use for classes and stuff, but this is my, like, my baby pair that I use all the time. I've had it for, well, since 2008. And these things are sharp as heck and they're amazing. So if you need a pair of really good detail cutting scissors for your paper, and I only use it on paper, I don't use these to cut ribbon, or at least I try not to. And I use a separate pair of scissors for ribbons. Anyway, so when you're fussy cutting, the trick is not to move your hand with the scissors. The trick is to move the paper with your left hand. And I like to give a little border around my fussy cut images. And as you'll see, it really goes quickly. And you might say, oh, but I have arthritis. Well, okay. You know, arthritis is tough when you're doing fussy cutting. I also have arthritis pretty bad. And these snips, if I'm having a really bad flare-up, of course, I'm not going to pick a project that's got a ton of fussy cutting. In fact, I'm probably not going to do too much stamping at all because it can be really difficult to even hold a block at that point. But, you know, today I'm feeling good, and so the scissors are no problem, and they're smooth. They're not, you're not putting really too much pressure on them. So if you are an arthritis sufferer and want some tips on how to stamp and, you know, still be creative while you're, you know, experiencing quite a bit of arthritis pain, go ahead and reach out, because I've got what's called psoriatic arthritis. It's very similar to rheumatoid arthritis. And, you know, I know that osteoarthritis is no joke either. So, you know, reach out. You're not alone. Plenty of stampers stamp with arthritis because it's just worth it. It's worth the pain sometimes. Okay. See, I'm just moving this thing. So sometimes, you know, the flare-ups can be super real, of course, and, you know, there's times when I can, like, barely move, and frankly, getting out of bed is a challenge. So, you know, those days, of course, I'm not going to be stamping, but, you know, my normal days of just the normal level of arthritis effects, you know, I just kind of grin and bear it, because it is worth it to me. Okay, look at that beautiful bonsai. We have one more. Okay. The fussy cutting really relaxes me. I'm actually getting pretty quiet because I'm just like, I mean, it's no massage. Believe me, I'd way rather have a massage than fussy cut. Who wouldn't? But there is just something really cathartic about this. Fortunately, I actually don't really know anyone who's having a super hard time right now. That's super close to me. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I do actually know someone that we're not super close, but I do know someone who's going through a pretty rough time right now. So this would be a perfect card for that person. But I know we all have friends and family who go through tough times. We all go through it. So this would be something that you can do to just kind of let a person know you're thinking of them. Okay. Fussy cutting, done. Okay, now it's the fun part, to put the card together. Okay, so we have all of our components. So I'm going to start with the wet glue. Actually, I'm going to start with using the bone folder to crease this card base. And let's grab the glue and put our layering piece on the inside. Now, you can stamp as much or as little as you want on the inside layer. I tend to write notes, so I like to leave some space, but I do like it to be a little decorated. But every now and then, you know, you're sending a card to somebody you don't know that well, and you're like, I don't know what to write. So, you know, don't feel like you have to write a book, you know, stamp it up on the inside and then, you know, say, thinking of you. or thank you for that, for your kindness, you know, whatever it is. Heart Teresa. Okay, so gluing that embossed layer down. Now let's kind of look at this, how we want to arrange this. I'm going to kind of make these like cattywampus. I'm going to kind of, let's go over, so maybe something like that. And then this is going to go here, and then we're going to put these kind of like this. So like so, and then this is going to go kind of like that. So I just like to give myself a little dry run. So let's glue these down. I love liquid glue when we're using embossed panels, because when you emboss it, for some reason I feel like the snail adhesive does not stick as well. I mean, it sticks fine, but I just don't love it as much as I love it like the glue. I'm just a liquid glue person though, so I guess there's that. And just kind of wanting it to kind of look a little bit even, but random all at the same time. There. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's quickly, I'm going to glue half of the bonsai trees directly to this square panel. We're going to pop this square panel up. So I'm going to put this tree kind of up like so. And then I'm going to put this tree down a little bit lower on the other side. Just a little bit of glue. You really don't need much. This glue is powerful. Okay, and then we're going to use our dimensionals. And let's just put a couple here. Put this in the middle of the square. Oh, you guys, look how pretty this is. Get rid of that backing. So pretty. Oh, gosh, I just love this. Okay, let's go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back. Again, I'm super liberal with dimensionals. I am anti-saggage. The dimensionals really aren't that expensive. In fact, yeah, to me, it's just worth it. It's worth, and I'm putting the little mini dimensionals right here so these things don't get all weird and hung up, you know, when you're putting the card in and out. They're nice and stuck down. Those little grounds. Okay. All right. Take these off. If you don't have nails, a lot of people like to use our pick tool to pull these things off with, and that's also really helpful with arthritic folks as well. So I'm going to kind of do another little dry fit. So I'm going to stick this right here. And then I am going to put this here. So what I'm going to do is put a dimensional over here, like on the edge. I'm going to put a couple dimensionals because, again, you know how I feel. And then we're going to put a little glue, just dot it, no big deal. And we're going to put this right here. Look at that. Oh, you guys, this color combination in person, I have no idea how it's coming out on the camera, but in person, this is a stunning color combination, and I am definitely going to use it again. And plus, it feels a little bit masculine. So this card could be for a man or a woman, which, you know, it's kind of hard to come up with man cards sometimes, but this one for sure. So now, if you were sending this to a man, I might not do this next step, but, you know, hey, I'm all about bling. So we're using the red rhinestones, and I'm going to put these at the top of the lanterns that have their tops exposed on the card. So you might have, looks like I have about 3 here. So there. Just add another little accent. You guys, look at that. How beautiful. And then our little matching envelope. Wow. Okay. Again, if you want a chance at winning the projects I'm making today, go ahead and share this video. And even if you're watching the replay, go ahead and share. You'll win a set of the cards, or our other giveaway item today is this card kit. So I'm giving away 2 prizes for sharing. So this is a complete card kit also. So there's 2 chances to win. All right, so now we're going to move on to our third and final card, And this is one that we are casing from the annual catalog. And normally I wouldn't case something that is a hostess set, but we're gonna do it today because I saw this card and I'm like, yes, I want to do that card. And I have the set. I bought the set. You know, every now and then, like, I'm not normally super motivated by the hostess sets because they're all right for me, but this one is speaking my language. I am a flower girl all the way. So this card, we're actually kind of switching this up a little bit. We're not casing it exactly. We're casing the colors and we're casing the style, but instead of having it be a vertical card, we're going to turn it into a horizontal card, just like this. And this is using the Scripty embossing folder, and I don't have that one. So I decided I'd use the Subtles, and I kind of liked the clean and simple look on this. Super clean, super simple. And then on the inside, we've got the thank you. So this set doesn't have sentiments with it, so I decided to pull out the Soft Spring and then also Love What You Do. I really wanted to use I'm Lucky to Have a Friend Like You and Thank You. So if you don't want the Soft Spring set, you could use this set too to kind of do a very similar effect to what we're doing, but I really wanted to use these. I loved this card. Okay. By the way, if you don't have a catalog, please let me know, or a demonstrator, and you're interested in purchasing products and you'd like me to be your demonstrator, which I would love to be your demonstrator, just want to make sure I point that out, that I will mail you a catalog for free. In fact, I mailed 3 out this week and I've got a stack more, and I'm waiting for some annual catalogs to come in, so I'll be sending those out as well. So if you want a catalog, write it in the comments and I'll contact you for your address and I'll get one out to you this week, okay? So let's go ahead and get to stamping. It's kind of funny, I realized we're using the current in colors on every single one of our projects, actually. I just noticed that. So for this one, we're using Purple Posy. And here's our stuff. We're using the Subtles embossing folder. I already embossed, so we're not going to do that. You know how to do that. We are using the braided linen trim. This is so pretty, you guys. I love this. And then we're using this color combination of Highland Heather, Blushing Bride, and Mint Macaron. And we are going to stamp away here. In fact, hold on, let me grab another baby wipe. I need to share a block with a stamp, so I need this large block for this project, and I don't want to get soft suede on my hands. I didn't clean this set before I did it, so let's go ahead and peel this off. So I put the cling backs on this. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So on this one I did. You know, sometimes they're hard to pull off, and again, remember I told you the arthritis. So I just take the scissors and gently kind of lift under there. You could use your bone folder too, and then peel it off. These things stick like crazy, so which is a good thing. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take this floral image. I've got all my images mounted now that we're using. So let's see what we've got here. Let's look at our goodies. Got the Posy Purple card base, and I was originally gonna do the let's just tell you the story real quick. I was originally going to do it this orientation, but when I went to stamp the inside layer, I did it horizontally, which I don't know why. It's just, this is my like normal. And I was like, oh, poopy. I did it this way instead of, you know, vertical, but that's okay. I decided, you know what? No big deal. This can be a horizontal card. So that's what we're doing this time. We're going to make this horizontal, and that way it's, you're casing, but you're kind of going with the flow, right? So sometimes you have to just make your mistakes happy accidents. And it's kind of interesting to have a card open up this way. You know, it's just a little different. I like it. So we're doing it. We're going to keep with it. So let's go ahead and do our stamping with our Highland Heather ink. And we're going to do this main image here. We're going to kind of do it over to the right and kind of down. This is the I'm Lucky to Have a Friend Like You. In fact, let's pull out our Stampin' Pierce mat because these are photopolymer stamps and you get a much better impression if you're stamping on something with cushion. So I like to do my sample stamp, being the paranoid stamper I am. And let's go ahead and put that down. Perfect. Okay, so let's grab this and we're gonna put thank you in the center of this. This card's gonna go together real fast, you guys. It was quick and easy to trim everything up, and the stamping is fast. So I thought I'd save the best for last, or the best. They're all the best. I love all these projects today, but the quickest for last. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our Blushing Bride. We'll do all the Blushing Bride stamping at once. So we're using this kind of, you know, floral stem, and I'm going to put this like so on the corner and then do the other corner. So this is our inside piece. We're not quite ready to glue, of course, because we're going to do the mint macaron on there as well, and I want it to dry before I glue it in. So we're going to, this one we're going to kind of take from the upper right, and then we're going to go this way, and then we're going to go this way. So we're kind of, I don't want to overlap too much. Perfect. Love how that turned out. Okay, and let's do our envelope. Oops. Okay. I'm going to have this coming down from the side like so. Set that aside. Okay, we're done with the Blushing Bride. Now onto the mint macaron. You know, I didn't really like this color when it first came out long time ago, but it has really grown on me, which is weird because I really love greens. So why I didn't like it, don't ask. I have no idea. Anyway, we're going to do one where we're going to stamp it full strength, and then we're going to stamp off kind of more in between like that there. And let's do the same for down here. Let's do kind of a full strength and then a stamp off lower strength. And then let's go ahead, I'm going to stamp that off on the side and then do that kind of more here as well. Okay. Oh, look. Somebody got a green fingerprint there. I wonder who that was. I'm going to show you how to fix that. For the front panel, do some more stamp off. And then we'll do full strength here. Now, let me show you something. See how I did full strength, and instead of taking this from here to here, I went and re-inked it, and I'm going to stamp it off again. Because if you do something on the side like that, let me show you what happens. I'm going to do full strength down here. And then even though I want a stamped off look, I'm going to stamp off again. Do you see how there's that weird darkness in the middle there? You kind of want to avoid that if you can. I don't like that. So I will do another fresh inking. And then if I want to stamp it off, then I'll stamp it off after I did that, so you don't get that effect. Okay, and then let's grab the envelope. Okay, so see how I did that? But I'm going to want a stamped off look kind of further down here. There we go. Okay. All right. Just set the envelope aside to dry. We're done with stamping, you guys. So everything's drying, giving it a minute. And what I'm going to do is take this piece and we're going to put this on dimensionals because, you know, I am popping everything up all the time. Again, we're going crazy because this is what I like to call the anti-saggage technique. Just kidding. I'm just being silly. Okay. Taking off those backings. I really hope you guys are enjoying these cards and enjoying the idea of casing when you're not in the mood to like make something from scratch. You just want to craft, but you don't want to sit and invent the wheel. So that's the perfect time to case. So we've got this. I kind of put this over to the left a little bit. I wanted this a little off center. I'm going to go ahead and cut a ribbon long enough to make a bow. Hopefully this isn't long enough. That burlap trim. And I'm going to put this over to the left here. And I'm going to want the bow at the very top, kind of the top portion of this sentiment here, or of this focal image panel. So what kind of stamps do you like? Are you a critter girl? Are you a flower person? Do you like just doing sentiments? Like, do you have a style? I'd love to learn more about what you're into and also what you'd like to see. So have you been looking through the catalogs, and is there something you'd like to see me stamp with, or is there a technique you'd like me to teach you? Leave that in the comments, and would love ideas on what you guys want to see. Because, you know, if you're going to tune in and watch me on Saturday and spend an hour with me, let's do something you want to do. We don't always have to do what I want to do. Okay, let's just anchor that down with a glue dot. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and trim those tails. Okay, you guys, that is so pretty. Isn't that pretty? I love the way that linen trim looks. Okay, so before we glue this to the inside, there's this thing that you can get on Amazon called the Mono Sand Eraser. It's the Tombow Mono Sand Eraser 512. And what this does is this will erase ink. But you want to go with a light hand because it's going to remove the top layer of your paper, okay? And we don't want that. We don't want to go too crazy with that. So what we're going to do is so this is a quick and easy way to fix techniques. And you just want to go gentle. Just kind of like how earlier we were building up color, this we're gently removing. So that print is gone, so you don't see the ink. But if you looked really close, which nobody does, you can see that there's, like, you can see where we sanded the paper a little bit, so there's a little bit of texture there. But if I had to pick between a small amount of texture and an inky fingerprint, I'm going to pick the texture every day of the week. Or you could always redo it, but I'm not about that life. I don't like to redo. Although you could do the second, you know, restamp the second or other side of your paper. So there is that option too. Sometimes I do that, but I try not to. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab this and glue this to the inside of our really pretty Purple Posy card. For those of you who are new to Stampin' Up, you will notice that we don't have an ink pad that goes with Purple Posy this year. There was a quality issue in the formula that when the ink dried back, it dried kind of a different color than the actual Purple Posy, and unfortunately it was just never able to get corrected. So we're never going to have a Purple Posy ink pad, unfortunately. But we do have the Stampin' Write markers. So you know how I showed you how to color on the stamped images like we did on that last card? You can totally do that with the Purple Posy if you want Purple Posy ink on your actual project. So feel free to do that. You guys, I know I'm going crazy. I'm going to town. I am going to town with these dimensionals. I can't stop. I really don't want this panel to sag at all. So if I had craft foam, I might even glue that to the back of this because I want it to be really solid, because I'm going to put this through the mail. This is a thank you card that I'm probably going to send somebody. I'm still not quite done with thank you gifts or thank you for Christmas gifts yet. Almost done, not quite. So I'm probably going to send this in the mail for sure. And this might be one I actually send to my brother and sister-in-law in Germany. So I want this to make it. Make it without getting all warped. Okay. So now, because I like the simplicity of this card, I'm also not going to add any kind of other bling or anything to this. I'm just going to keep this simple. I really like the natural look of that linen braided trim, and I'm just keeping it as is. Nothing fancy. The stamping and the colors and the linen just speak for itself, in my opinion, on this. So we are now done. Look at that. You guys, we made 3 gorgeous cards. We put zero thought into the actual like designing of them, other than picking out what we wanted to case, right? And so at the end of the day, we came out with 3 cards that are absolutely stunning. Where's my first card? Why can't I find it? Oh, here it is. 3 very different, but they're all kind of nature oriented. And we have 2 thank yous, and then we've got 1 encouragement. So go ahead and share the video for your chance to win this full set of cards that I will mail to you. And also we are giving away this card kit today as well for sharing. So I'll pick 2 winners, and make sure you type it in the comments below so I know that you shared. And again, if you're watching the replay, it's open to you as well. I do have a few little things going on. If you haven't yet joined the Stampin' with Teresa community here on Facebook, you can join it through the Biz page. If you're watching this video through my Biz page, if you're already in the Stampin' with Teresa group, you have access to everything. But I went ahead yesterday and decided to give a few gifts this week on that group. That's just, everything is exclusive to that group this week. I really wanted to focus on you guys at the Stampin' with Teresa community. So we started out by, I mailed Valentine's Day cards to anyone who wanted one. And if you haven't received yours yet, if you asked for it, it could still be in the mail, because I got them throughout the week. I had to wait for a couple addresses. And I'm in Seattle, so if you're East Coast, it may have taken a minute. And then yesterday I decided to offer you the opportunity to have exclusive access to some videos on YouTube for a class to go that I did, my January class to go, which was Valentine's themed. Here's actually one of the projects that was featured. So those links are below, or in the feed. So, you know, scroll down till you see it if you want to go ahead and watch those. They're links to YouTube, and they're only posted here. So it's a special little gift for my community here. And I'm not doing a class to go for February, but I will be doing one for March. So I will keep you posted on what's coming out with that. Want you to know we are still doing Celebration. We did one of the cards. This card was from the Celebration catalog, and we used that. In fact, last week we did this card using the Happy Birthday to You set, and that's also from this catalog. Again, you can only get these items for free, which, hey, free, that's great. Okay, there's a catch. Yeah, you get it for free, but, you know, you have to spend at least $50 to get a free item from here, which, by the way, is not hard. So if you liked anything that we did today, you know, one of these days I will post the supply list below. Otherwise, I kind of mentioned everything through this video. I can send you a catalog. You can go to my online store, which is stampinwiththeresa.stampinup.net. If you place an order that's $50, you're automatically going to get to choose an item from here. By the way, if you purchase $30 or more, I'm going to send you a free gift this month, and that free gift is actually a set of mini dimensionals. So these little tiny guys, because I think everything needs to be popped up. So you might have regular dimensionals, but if you don't have the minis, it might be fun giving those a try. Those came out a couple years ago. And then let's see. I do have a YouTube channel, and I do have Instagram. You can follow me there. I don't always post all the same stuff everywhere. So anyway, love to have you be a YouTube subscriber, and love to have you follow me on Instagram as well. So any questions you have, please post below, and I will follow up through the week. And after this video, I'll go through all the comments and answer any questions. Thank you so much for spending your morning with me. I really appreciate it. We went a little bit long, so I'm sorry about that, but I hope that the projects were worth it. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a really great weekend. Bye.